All right, today we are going to talk about death and the dying process. This is take 3. For some reason, everything is acting like it's Mercury retrograde. I gotta look that up, see what's going on, but grab your tea, get your coffee, come on back, and we'll discuss some of that. All right, I got a video from one of you, and I get this particular type of video a lot. It is somebody in end stage disease, or the dying stages, and there are orbs flying around the room while they're still alive. And so many of you send me videos of those orbs, and I'm going to tell you, every one of them is magnificent. Because I can tell and kind of feel who those orbs are. Now, 9 times out of 10, those orbs are, especially for somebody that's in the process of dying, end stage disease of any type, those orbs are loved ones that have gone on before us, that are there. Hang on a minute. I got a sneeze coming. Yeah, thank you, Spirit. Okay, I got some tea here too. Those orbs that are flying around are loved ones that have already crossed over ahead of us. Now, they actually serve a task. They come down and they prepare the person that is dying for that transition. Now, sometimes, oh, thank you, Spirit. What is going on? Let go of my camera. All right, Spirit. You are not allowed to use the camera. I'm in charge. I don't know if you guys saw that, but I had Spirit take over. Please use the light if you want to message me. There's a series of lights in the room. Please do not mess with the camera. All right. But those orbs are loved ones. And they are coming back, and they make these little visitations, and they come in and they help that person that is dying. Whether it's cancer, emphysema, even Alzheimer's, dementia. Those orbs are loved ones coming in. So they kind of hang around a little bit, and they prepare a lot. Oftentimes, the person that is dying will, thank you, Spirit, literally point out where they see somebody in the room. And oftentimes, years ago, it was, it was a demon. You know, you couldn't talk about seeing things that weren't there for everybody, because it was negative. And I'm going to tell you, that's a bunch of bullshit. I have never seen a demon come in. Now, the angel of death could be perceived as a demon, but the angel of death does not cause death, okay? You chose that. We all choose somewhat the time that we are going to die in before we are born. That soul contract comes into play. I have often said, I have never seen anybody die that wasn't ready. Thank you again, Spirit, on the light. Yes. Oftentimes, in a case of a 15-year-old boy, and he and his mom were standing in the kitchen talking about he was getting ready for school, and he was eating his cereal, and he was getting ready to head out for the day. And a song came on the radio, and just for shits and giggles, he said out loud, "Hey, Mom, if anything ever happens to me, play that at my funeral." I believe it was 2 weeks later, the young man was in a car accident and died. He did not consciously know it, but his soul knew that it was preparing. Thank you, Spirit, for acknowledging that. A lot of great validation happening. But his soul knew. His soul kind of let that slip out. And oftentimes that happens. Oftentimes we even get that same feeling about somebody else that's going to pass. Oh, you don't say anything, and then you should keep that to yourself. And I often keep that to myself. It does say in the Bible that only God knows the hour and day. Okay? Thank you, Spirit. Bam. Thank you for acknowledging God. So only God knows the hour and day, and we agreed on that with him before we entered into this incarnation down here. So yeah, those orbs that show up flying around the room are, especially if somebody is at very tail end in hospice care, you know, end of life measures. They often are recording those videos of orbs making their presence. All right, the next question you guys have. Tina, my daughter was in a bad motorcycle accident and she died on the side of the road. There was a passerby that came to help out, and her body still hadn't expired completely. And the Good Samaritan that stopped to help heard that young lady. Thank you, Spirit. She may have been calling for her mother, and she was kind of just making physical moaning noises in pain. However, I want you to know at that moment that a soul is getting ready to transition, they are not in that physical body feeling that pain. They are already out of it. I get the same message in some of my murder cases, that I was outside it, over top of my body watching it. So our soul knows. Now, whether you believe in Jesus, whether you believe in God or not, some benefactor from the other side. Most often it is Jesus. It can be any saint. It can be a grandparent too. They kind of help get us out of that, our soul out of that body, and not remember that physical pain that took place on the side of the road. The soul does not feel it. I am often asked, especially if I'm connecting, and for this young girl, I was asked, Tina, did she suffer? No, she did not. She reflected to me that she was watching the accident happen. She was over top of the motorcycle. Thank you, Spirit. She watched it take place and went and looked at it as a third party, not even like, oh, that's me. Thank you, Spirit, again. Wow. A lot of validation. She looked at it as though she were a neutral third person watching this happen to these people, young people on this motorcycle. Now, the moaning and any noises that someone does make at that final moment is, you really can't snap a soul out of a body without there being some kind of twitching that goes on. And if you find this a little graphic, it's my line of work. If you've been to any of my grief counseling, I often kind of make some divisions in the room. Okay, natural causes over here, suicides over here. Just kind of grouping people together. But I hope this doesn't kind of freak a lot of you out. So yeah, did my child feel any pain at that accident? And they will always tell me, I saw it happening, I did not feel it. Okay, another question I often get asked is, give me a split second, I gotta kind of pull it together myself. All right, here, another question that I am often asked is, we had harsh words the day before they died. Now, this is the one that I carry, so I had to kind of get it pulled together so I could kind of lay it out for you. I had a son, Daniel. A lot of you follow me know about Daniel. He was special needs from birth. He could not walk or talk. He had to be spoon-fed and diapered. He had no way to communicate. He had a few words he could pull together, but for the most part, he was nonverbal. And the only way he could communicate was to complain, cry, just get angry. And the night before Daniel passed, I had to go to work the next day, and he was having a hard time sleeping that night. And like any mother, frustrated, needing to get sleep and go to work, I went in his room and I scolded him. Somehow I feel like you're on the light, Daniel. If that's you, buddy, can you turn the light off? Please give me another moment. Okay. So he's sending me strength. I can do this. So anyway, I went into his room and I scolded him. I said, please, you have to go to sleep. Mommy needs to get some sleep. I have to go to work. And it's like, it wasn't this nice. Like any frustrated mom, I scolded him. I yelled at him, damn near at the top of my lungs. Cut it out. All right. Not happy. I woke up to find him gone. He had died in his sleep just not long before I woke up that morning. Thank you again on the light. And those final words echoed that next morning. Not goodbye. Not a kiss on the forehead, which I gave him that when I tucked him in. However, those words echoed in my ears. Many of you deal with the same things with adult children. You've got kids that might be addicts, issues at home, and you scold them. You know what? I'm not helping you out any longer. There's some tough love here. If you don't get off that shit, then you're no longer welcome here. And then that child ODs. Sometimes our final words are meant to happen to trigger that soul. Say, okay, this is my stop today. I'm supposed to get off here today. But do not carry those words. Now, I could not channel this myself. I had a friend who is a psychic come tell me later that the minute Daniel crossed over to the other side, that he said, Mom, thank you for releasing my soul. Wow. Thank you for releasing me. Sometimes it takes a little abrasion to kind of let something break loose, lance it, and get it, let it go. And I get the same word back from adult addicts who have overdosed and died for whatever reason, accidentally take their lives. That even though they had harsh words with somebody, that those were the catalyst, the words that set them free. Now I'm going to tell you, I have never connected to anybody that has died that says they want to come back. Nobody wants to come back. They call it heaven for a reason, okay? We mourn the loss of somebody when they're gone. Sometimes I see people that grieve for years and years, decades. Now, that's not what they want over there. Our loved ones, when they cross, the first time you laugh and show joy after their death, it literally rejuvenates them. It kind of energizes them. It allows them to work into their healing. because they heal too over there of all the trauma that we put them through while they were down here, okay? For whatever reason. So, whatever final words you say to somebody, that might just be the trigger it takes to help them. Some of you that have lost kids as a result of suicide, I want you to know above all that your child does not go into purgatory. They're not in limbo. Thank you, Spirit, on the light. They're not sent to hell. Their soul, 222. Thank you, Spirit, on the light again. Their soul also needed a trigger to kind of leave on the day they said they would leave. On the day they agreed to leave. If the soul does not leave by natural causes, an accident, murder, somebody else takes you out, the soul completes its highest and final obligation to God and leaves on the day it agrees to go. If your child committed suicide, they sit at the right hand of the Father when they cross over, for the love, for the healing, to help them make the transition back into the spirit realm clean with no guilt. And they literally are heroes on that side. So your child does not go into purgatory, and they're not banished to hell, and thank you, Spirit. They make it to heaven. Now, one of the questions I'm commonly asked is, Tina, the guy that murdered my son died while he was in prison. Please tell me he didn't make it to heaven. Because of that soul contract, everybody goes back to heaven. Because we agree to the most horrific things that we are going to do to other people. We might be the one committing that murder. We might be the one that agrees to perhaps incest. We might be the one that agrees to take on addiction. We agree to everything. We agree to this meat suit, okay? We might agree to take on a body that is 400 pounds. We may agree to take on a body that is diseased or afflicted, handicapped, but we agree to take that on. Hang on, another coffin. So we really do agree to the roles that we are going to play down here. And if you do take on that role, or somebody you know or love takes on the role of that horrible bad guy. Maybe there was a bombing here this week. Somebody bombed a maternity clinic, maybe a reproduction clinic. I don't know what it was, but they bombed that clinic. They kind of took that on over there and said, yeah, you know what, I'm going to just be a bad guy and I'm going to do something like that. So it is not held against them when they return. They get the healing, they get the counseling, they help them make that transition to spirit realm healed and whole. They do not carry that pain, they do not carry that agony. Let's see, let me find my notes here. Next question. Thank you, Spirit. So yeah, even bad guys and the worst of the worst make it into heaven's gates. Even people that agree to come down here and cause catastrophic holocaustic events. And I will leave it at that because even those dark people that chose that life's path is able to be washed in the blood once they get there. They will be healed and counseled and sent, reincarnated again. We all do. Get wash, rinse, and repeat. We're coming back down again. So if you don't get it right this time, you may have another chance. And you most definitely will have the opportunity to see your own loved ones. As a matter of fact, they will be the ones that come for you when your time comes, or when my time comes. Last but not least, there was nobody there with Dad when he died in the hospital. Nobody dies alone. Nobody ever dies alone, whether it's in the hospital, on the side of the road, in an alley. Thank you, Spirit on the light. Nobody ever dies alone. Oftentimes I hear Jesus is present for the soul that is leaving, and another loved one, maybe a grandmother or somebody a little more recognizable that has gone on ahead of us. But nobody ever dies alone. They are taken by the hand from the other side energetically, embraced, and taken across. It is actually, feels like returning to, returning to the womb in a way, because it feels like home, going back home. That's why many people refer to it as back home. All right. I hope I addressed some of those questions that many of you have. Let me know down in the comments what other topics you'd like to hear me speak on. I have a wide variety of experiences. I was born this way, could see spirit as a small child. I repressed it for a while, but I've got a lot of experience with what I have seen. You guys, I certainly appreciate you following me, and I sincerely never leave you that I don't bless you with love and light. See you soon.